Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. So we've still had no rain. We're getting misty, really foggy mornings. Like most mornings on my drive to work, I can't even see a few hundred meters in front of me. It's been that bad every single morning. So it's been quite a challenge driving to work. It's a little bit hard. You've got to focus early in the morning to make sure you can see what's going on. Um, as you can see, the sun's just started shining through here. It's actually fairly warm here in the shed. I've got the fan on, but I can't open a door because Adam has been processing our honey, and we have the big honey spinner here next to my fire, actually, because the other day he had the fire going so that he could get the honey nice and warm so that it would spin really easily. But he's been processing the honey here, and if I open the doors, all of the bees that belong to that honey will want to come and take it back, whatever's left. And there are some scraps here on the table, a little bit of honeycomb, and yeah, I don't really want to have a whole horde of bees in here right now. We will take the spinner outside and let the bees clean it up, and then they just leave it alone once all of the honey is gone. So I'm sure they'll come and want to take the little bits of honey that are in here as well, but I just don't need to be in here while that is happening. Also this week, I have put a fresh bale of hay in for the sheep. They were down to the very last skerricks of what they had left. So just put them into the grass area, which is not really grass at the moment, for like half an hour or so while we got the tractor and lifted a bale over and got that all sorted out. And while they were not in their main paddock, I grabbed a rake, the back of a rake, and I've dragged a lot of their poo away from some of the grass, what should hopefully be grass area. Yeah, there's just been so much, and because I've been confined in that space, because I haven't been able to be out here, because there's just been, I didn't want to overuse both areas. There's been a lot of their poo in there, so I dragged it all back, so it's in a few piles to expose the ground to hopefully get fresh grass to grow. Now, with morning dew and with some sunshine, we are hopefully, we're getting that, I said, that little green across everywhere. So hopefully I can promote some of that growth, and that will at least give them a little bit more in their current area. And then I will sort of figure out what I'm going to do with those piles at some point. This afternoon, I'm taking Quinn to get his annual vaccination. So hopefully he behaves himself, and then him and Maggie still like each other when he gets back from the vet. So I'll take an extra blanket to wrap around him when I bring him back into the house. They have both been sleeping with me these past few nights, so it's definitely getting much cooler, and they're looking to get body warmth from me, and it's actually been nice to have their body warmth as well, now that I'm getting used to them both being on there, and that I can kind of, move myself around a little bit, and they're either going to get off or they're going to stay, and they don't really care. It's not, I'm not disturbing them unless they want to be disturbed at this point. So I was like, there was like a big spoon and a little spoon the other day. I had one of them sort of in the crook around near my tummy, leaning one way, and the other was in the crook of my knee at the back of me. So I had one on either side, which was really lovely. The problem has been, though, that now they want to sit with me when I sit in bed just before I go to sleep, when I do some knitting at night. And they have been sitting all over my knitting, so there hasn't been a ton of progress. I have been dyeing up some DK yarn, only a small batch. I'm going to try and do a few small batches during the week, about as much as I can get done in an afternoon after I get home from work is about 3 colorways. That's about my limit in terms of the amount of time I want to spend after I've worked during the day to take care of that stuff, and then still have time to relax and sit and knit in the evenings as well. So I have done some more mocha because all of that sold out at the last market. And I've also done some of my classic favorites. I have a whole batch of gumball machine done. This is still a little bit wet, even though I've had the fire going over in here to melt the honey, and with teal not green. So anyone who has seen my market store before will know that I have a sample on my market store, which is a brioche cowl, 2-color brioche with these 2 colors. And I've been having some requests to have it available again. So I have some teal not green and gumball machine, which will be coming with me to Coburg. Now, Coburg is the 14th and 15th of June. That is my next market, and I'm doing lots of preparation for that now. I'm glad to have a few weeks of not having markets. Had a really good weekend last weekend in Mornington. It was a beautiful sunny day, and got to meet and chat with a whole lot of people, which was great. And I sold out of quite a lot of DK colorways, especially. So I'm going to have to get my act into gear and get all that done before Coburg. Also, I have ordered myself a new banner for my stall. Previously, I have one that I pin on the front of one of my tables, which is lovely, but over time you kind of learn a few things. And I realized that when people are standing at my stall, you actually can't see any of that branding and signage because people are in front. And obviously you want people to be in front of your stall. So I'll probably still keep that, and there's still a place for it in terms of having it cover up a table and, like, display, or if I'm on a corner, I can actually put it like on the sort of the side or the back half of my store just as decoration. But I now have a pull-up banner that I created thanks to a couple of the girls at the market the other week that I was talking to, who were talking about their signage and lessons they had learned. So I made sure to have my name right at the top. Then I've got my logo, and then through the middle I have my web address, a sort of a tagline that explains what I do. And I have a QR code, and I have an Instagram and a YouTube symbol beside that, just to add something to just show where you can find me. And then another of my flowers below that. And what they were saying was that they had put their contact details and name lower on their banners, and oftentimes I'll put the banner behind their table, and then you can't see all that information. So I've put it at the top and in the middle, and I think it's at about the right height where I can actually have a table and have it standing behind the table, and you'll still be able to see all of that information. It'll be close. At least you'll be able to see the passion flower and the flower anyway. So I'm really excited to have that and to be able to figure out how to use it within my market setup moving forward. First to what I'm wearing this week. This is the Mrs. Tumnus shawl by Mimi Cod. I'll leave the details below. And this is a colorway from an indie dyer who no longer dyes, so I won't give you the details, but it is a really beautiful light purple, and I do dye a similar light purple now myself. It is a beautiful little like lace shawl. I'll take it off so you can see it a bit better. It's quite small, like is in not very deep, but I think it's really effective in terms of showing some nice lace detail, and it sits really nice. So that is my shawl. And now I can't sit right. Anyway, looking at myself backwards in this. That'll do. No. Yeah, there we go. As I said, I haven't done a stack of knitting. I have been coming over here and doing work when I get home from my office job work. So I haven't had as much time in the afternoons by choice to sit and knit. And I just haven't when I've been sitting at home, I've ended up not knitting. I've had it with me, but I haven't done a stack of knitting. Part of that, I think, is, as I said before, the cats are sitting on me a lot more because they're cold. And so as soon as I pick up my knitting, they sort of want to be right in my lap, and they either sit on my bag so I can't get the yarn out, or they sit on the project, or they sit on my lap, and I've kind of got to work my way around them in order to knit. But I have done a little bit. First, to my stripy socks. The yarn is by Heather Maid, and it is the Rainbow Lollipop pastel colour. And I have finished the first sock. The cuff flares a little bit. I did a 3x1 rib, and I just bound off all just in stockinette, but it'll be fine once you put it onto your leg. It'll stretch out nicely. So that is sock number 1. And I made sure to finish with a little bit of the purple left so that I can start exactly where the pink starts, so that I can match these stripes up. And then I will have enough left to probably make a mismatched shorter pair with the leftovers. I think what I'll do at that point is weigh it and probably wind it into 2 balls so that I can do that. So I have not cast on the second sock yet, or woven in the ends, as you can see. My only other active whip this week is the test knit that I have been sharing with you. It is the male Clad vest, as in like chainmail, just in case you were wondering. And it is by Tess from Fluff and Nonsense. And I am making a stack of progress. So there's still plenty of time in the test knit, but I want to try and get it done as quickly as possible, because I'm being quite enthusiastic about it at the moment, but also because I know that I do tend to drag my heels if I leave something for a little while. So it's got this really beautiful detail, look all backwards, detail along each side. It is stockinette on the back, and it is twisted stitches on the front to create this sort of chainmail look in the pattern. So this is the body. I have now shaped the back underarm and shoulder. Well, no, not shoulder. I'm about to do the shoulder shaping and neck shaping very, very shortly. And then it'll be time to start on the front shaping of the neck and the shoulders. I'm so surprised that I'm actually getting row gauge with this. I didn't think I was. I had measured it, but I think I had measured it while I had a cat sitting on me, and it was kind of a bit not quite right. And then I measured it again last night, and I am pretty much, it was only a fly. I thought it might have been a bee for a minute there. Sorry, what was I saying? So yeah, I didn't think I was getting row gauge, but I've measured it again, and I'm like pretty much spot on. And I'm really surprised because I hardly ever get my row gauge correct. I don't know why, because row gauge is more about the yarn you're using, and this is actually the yarn that was called for in the pattern. So maybe that's why. That is why. I just had this like moment of clarity. Often when I'll be able to get stitch gauge with a substitute yarn, but not the row gauge. So there you go. I just taught myself something. Oh, and this yarn, by the way, is also by Fluff and Nonsense, and it is the SRS Merino. It's a non-superwash wool, and it is in the orange spice colorway. Now, I haven't alternated skeins with this. I'm on my second skein now. You can see I changed over where these strands are down here. Now I'm in a tangle. I switched over to the new ball down here where these 2 strands are, and that was before I split the front and back by a few rows. You can see there's a couple of darker little spots, but don't mind, and I'm not going to worry about ripping back or figuring out how to alternate or anything, because I think that the texture on the front and also that little bit of variation in the wool is actually working out really, really well. So I am enjoying this so much, and I hope to have a lot more progress next week. I'm going to have to try and figure out how to maneuver the cats a little bit better so that I can make some progress. I think once I'm not measuring this back section, because I'm very close to needing to put this on to like bind off and do a whole lot of things. I think then I will be able to make some progress on the front a bit more. So another close up of that patterning for it. Sorry, it blows the color out. The color is really true back here. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.